On December 14th, 1702, in the city of Edo, Japan, 47 men moved through a snowstorm in the hours before dawn. They had been planning this night for nearly 2 years. They split into 2 groups and surrounded a mansion. They cut the alarm bell's rope so it could not ring. They posted men at every exit. Then, at the signal, they went over the walls. Inside was a man named Kira Yoshinaka. He was a senior official in the shogunate, well-connected, politically protected, and, according to the 47 men surrounding his home, the reason their lord was dead. They searched the mansion for 2 hours. They found Kira hiding in a small storehouse behind the kitchen, crouched in the shadows, wrapped in a white sleeping robe. One of the men recognized him by an old scar on his forehead. They offered him a samurai's death, a short sword, and the chance to die with dignity. Kira said nothing. He did not move. They killed him themselves. Then they walked 4 miles through the snow to a temple in Takanawa, carrying Kira's severed head. They placed it on the grave of their lord. After that, they sent a message to the shogunate and waited for the government's response. What happened next, what Japan argued about for months, and what the world has never forgotten, is the question at the center of this story. Were these men heroes or criminals? To understand why 47 men would wait nearly a year and a half to commit coordinated revenge, you need to understand what happened to their lord. In March of 1701, a feudal lord named Asano Naganori traveled to Edo Castle, the seat of the Tokugawa shogunate. He had been summoned to participate in a ceremony, receiving imperial envoys from Kyoto. It was an important occasion, and Asano had no experience with the complex protocols involved. He was assigned a tutor, Kira Yoshinaka, the official responsible for instructing provincial lords in court ceremony. What happened between them during the weeks of preparation is not entirely clear. What is clear is that it ended on March 14, 1701, when Asano Naganori drew his sword inside Edo Castle and attacked Kira Yoshinaka. Drawing a weapon inside the castle was a serious crime, regardless of the reason. Asano wounded Kira on the face and shoulder before guards restrained him. Asano was arrested. Kira was treated for his wounds. By nightfall, the verdict had already been delivered. Asano was ordered to commit seppuku, ritualized suicide, the same day. He was given no opportunity to explain himself, no formal hearing, no inquiry into what Kira had done or said to provoke him. The judgment was immediate and final. Kira received no punishment at all. Asano's domain, the Ako domain, with 300 samurai and all their dependents, was confiscated. All of his retainers were now Ronin, samurai without a lord. And here is where the story becomes more complicated than it first appears. The leader of Asano's former retainers was a man named Oishi Yoshio, also known as Oishi Kuranosuke. He was the chief administrator of the Ako domain, intelligent, experienced, and now, suddenly, unemployed. The other Ronin were angry. Many wanted to act immediately, to attack Kira within weeks. Oishi refused. He understood something they did not. The shogunate was watching. If they moved too quickly, the government would intervene. Kira would be protected, and the entire plan would fail. They had one chance. So Oishi enacted what became one of the most famous acts of misdirection in samurai history. He moved to Kyoto. He began drinking heavily in public. Appearing in geisha houses, getting visibly intoxicated, spending money recklessly. His behavior was so dissolute that his wife eventually asked for a divorce, which he granted. Rumors spread that he had abandoned the cause, that grief had broken him, that the Ronin had no intention of avenging their lord. Kira's guards, who had been tense and watchful in the months after Asano's death, gradually relaxed. While Oishi performed his role, the other Ronin dispersed across Japan. Some became merchants. Some became craftsmen. One became a carpenter in Edo, and spent months building a scale model of Kira's mansion, mapping every room, every exit, every guard post. They communicated in secret. They stockpiled weapons. They waited. After more than a year of preparation, Oishi sent a message to those who were still committed. 46 men answered. They gathered quietly in Edo in the weeks before December 1702. Some had traveled hundreds of miles. All of them understood that whatever happened after this night, their lives as they had known them were over. The plan was precise. 2 groups, North Gate and South Gate. The drum signal to begin. No killing of women, children, or servants who didn't resist. No looting. Find Kira, present him with the sword, give him the death a samurai deserved. They drilled the plan in a rented house outside Edo, rehearsing the layout of the mansion that the carpenter's model had given them. On the night of December 13th, they distributed the final orders. Each man received a written mission with his assigned position. Some were assigned to fight, some to prevent escape, some to keep watch for shogunate forces. One man, Terasaka Kichiemon, left before the attack. The reasons are disputed. Some say he was sent ahead to report the outcome to the domain's allies. Some say he had doubts. Some say he was ordered away by Oishi. He is the only one of the 47 who survived. 46 men crossed the walls. One was added later, bringing the total to 47 in historical memory. The attack began before dawn. The 2 groups moved simultaneously. The senior retainers, older, experienced fighters, took the main gate. The younger men took the rear. Before either group moved, scouts cut the bell rope and posted men on the road to prevent anyone from running for help. The fighting was real. Kira's guards were not expecting an attack, not after a year and a half of apparent inaction. But they were armed samurai. The battle inside the mansion was close and violent. Some of the Ronin were wounded. Kira's chief guard fought until he was killed. It lasted approximately 2 hours. When it was over, the mansion was searched room by room. Kira wasn't found in the main house. Then someone noticed footprints in the snow leading toward the servants' quarters, the storehouse behind the kitchen, a small space, barely large enough to hide in. They found him there. He was a man in his 60s, crouched in the dark, wrapped in a white sleeping robe. He had refused to come out. Oishi presented the short sword. Kira did not speak, did not move, did not reach for it. They killed him, took his head, washed it in the well outside. Then the 47 men lined up, some wounded, all alive. They marched 4 miles through early morning Edo, carrying Kira's head. Sengakuji Temple was the burial site of Lord Asano. The 47 men arrived at dawn. They placed Kira's head on the grave. They washed it again and burned incense and bowed. Then they sent word to the local authorities. "We have avenged our lord. We are here. We await your judgment." The news spread through Edo with remarkable speed. By the next day, people were already gathering outside the temple. Merchants brought food. Strangers bowed as the Ronin walked past. Something about what they had done, the patience of it, the completeness of it, the willingness to face whatever came next, resonated through the city in a way that surprised even the shogunate. The government was caught in a problem. The 47 men had committed an act of vengeance. That was, by law, a crime. But they had also demonstrated the highest ideals of samurai loyalty. Giri, the obligation to one's lord. In a way that was publicly celebrated. If the government punished them harshly, it risked appearing to oppose the very code of loyalty the warrior class was supposed to embody. If it pardoned them, it set a precedent that private vengeance was acceptable. The debate lasted 46 days. The argument over what to do with the 47 Ronin split Japanese intellectual society in ways that lasted for generations. Some of the most prominent thinkers of the era weighed in. One perspective held that the Ronin had fulfilled their duty. Bushido, the way of the warrior, demanded loyalty to one's lord, and they had honored that obligation perfectly. They should be pardoned and celebrated. The counter-argument was equally serious. Samurai loyalty was owed to the shogunate, not merely to personal lords. The Ronin had committed unauthorized violence against a shogunate official. They had bypassed the legal system. Pardoning them would mean endorsing private armies, taking the law into their own hands. A third position held that they deserved death, but a samurai's death, not execution. If they truly embodied Bushido, they should be given the same dignity they had offered Kira. The shogunate eventually chose the third option. On February 4th, 1703, 52 days after the raid, all 47 surviving Ronin were ordered to commit seppuku. They were divided among 4 different residences and ordered to die on the same day. All 47 complied. They were buried together at Sengakuji, beside their lord. Within a year of their deaths, the story of the 47 Ronin had been turned into a kabuki play. Then another. The story became one of the most retold narratives in Japanese history, adapted into plays, novels, films, and eventually into global popular culture. But what was the actual story? Historical research has complicated the legend considerably. The original incident, why Asano attacked Kira inside the castle, remains unclear. The most common traditional explanation is that Kira humiliated and insulted Asano, deliberately sabotaging his preparation for the ceremonies. But there is no contemporary document confirming what Kira actually said or did. The insult exists in the story, but not necessarily in the historical record. Some historians have suggested that Asano may have had a volatile temperament, that the attack was less provoked than the legend implies. Others have pointed out that Oishi's year and a half of apparent debauchery may have been exactly that, genuine grief and disillusionment, and that the decision to act came later than the legend makes it seem. What is not disputed, 47 men waited nearly 2 years, then acted with precision, then accepted death willingly. Whatever the cause, whatever their lord had actually been, they chose to follow him. Sengakuji Temple still stands in Tokyo. The 47 graves are still there, beside the grave of Lord Asano. People still come. people still burn incense. They have been doing so for 300 years. Was it loyalty? Was it honor? Was it revenge? Or was it something simpler? Men deciding that some things were worth dying for, and then keeping that decision through every season of waiting until the moment came. This is the Dragon Throne. We cover the rulers, generals, and rebels of Asia, and occasionally the 47 men who outlasted them all. Subscribe if this story stayed with you. New episodes every week.